being a nice guy cuts really deep, because as soon as you get subscribed to this idea that you need validation, you start trying to hide your mistakes, right? You try to hide your mistakes, you avoid conflict, you're afraid of confrontation, you're dishonest sometimes, you try to bury the truth in order to get validations, because you're under this belief that if you're imperfect, no one's ever gonna love you, right? So there's manipulation involved. There's a form of manipulation involved where you sort of repress your feelings in order to get validation. So you put your own personal needs to the side in order to get approval. All right? And again, I'm not saying don't be a nice guy. I'm saying you need to understand why you're being a nice guy. Okay? There's a whole archetype of nice guy personalities, but at the root of it is basically a form of slavery. Okay? Being a nice guy on some level is a form of slavery. And let me tell you why. Okay? When you're a nice guy and you're non-confrontational, okay, you're basically telling the world that you're not capable of violence, or you're not willing to use violence. And I'm not advocating violence, but you need to have the choice to use violence if it comes down to that. Okay? Somebody who's a slave means they don't have a choice. Okay? A slave doesn't have a choice. You need to have a choice. I'm either peaceful or I'm violent. But you need to have the option. I'm either peaceful or I'm violent. But if you take the violence out and you can only be peaceful, it's monopolized. You don't have a choice. You have to be peaceful, even when the time doesn't call for it. Okay? In other words, you need to be capable of violence in order for you to have a choice. And when you're not capable of violence because you're a nice guy, okay, and you're subscribed to that philosophy, then you're boxed into this form of slavery. Okay? Again, I'm not preaching violence here. I think it was Jordan Peterson who said, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has it under voluntary control. Okay? There's a need for choice. Okay? You have to be very mindful of why you're being a nice guy. Okay? Oftentimes being a nice guy is that you give to get mentality. Okay? It's like an ultimatum. Like, I give and I give, so I expect something in return.